Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be replacing the Serpentine belt on the N20 engine. Down in the description below we'll have part numbers of the belt we used and all the tools we used. First thing we're going to do is remove the airbox here in the front. We're going to need to remove the hood release cable right here, just 3 clips, easily taken off by hand. Next we're going to need to remove the 6mm screw clamp here, and then the rest will be held on by grommets. So we're going to unscrew the clamp. Once that clamp is loose, you're going to want to pick up on the airbox on the left side. These grommets just come up and release just by lifting it up. You don't really need any special tools. And then you can grab the boot and just pull it off like this. Now this connector for the mass airflow sensor, you can either remove it by hand by squeezing the tab here and then lifting up, but sometimes when there's a lot of dirt that gets inside, it can be kind of hard to release. So here you see that I'm trying to press on it, but it won't come out. So what you want to do is grab yourself a angle pick, just like this. You can pry underneath it to release the clip, and then you'll be able to remove it by hand. Now you don't need to remove it. What you can actually do is leave this connected all together and just lift up the airbox and flip it over and set it right on top of the engine right here. And you'll see that the connector can remain connected. Just right here. You can leave it on, flip the airbox upside down, and it'll stay there. So the next thing we need to do is remove the bottom air intake tubing. You're going to want to grab a 7mm hex socket. Go ahead, undo the clamp, and you're just going to grab the tubing and pull it out. Now the clip that's all the way at the bottom down here is going to be kind of tough to remove by hand, so make sure to grab the coolant hose and then pull up on the air tubing. Okay, so now that we have everything out of the way, here you're going to find the belt right here. This part right here is the belt tensioner. You're going to attach a 16mm socket to this point right here to release the tension. Alright, so you're going to want to grab yourself a hex Allen key, something like this. You don't want it to have the ball style Allen at the end. You want it flat. So if your Allen key has the ball style on the long side, like this won't work. So just make sure your Allen key has hex flats on both sides. Alright, so you are going to grab your Allen and slide it into a hole that's on the belt tensioner itself. You're going to find it right here. So right here where the arrow is pointing, that's where the Allen's going to go in. But first, before you slide it in this hole, you're going to need to turn that tensioner, take the tension off. And then the bottom portion of the tensioner will line up with that hole. And then you'll be able to slide in the Allen right into that slot, and it's going to hold it in place with the tension released. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how that's going to get done. I'm using a 3/8 here, but it is kind of hard. So I recommend that you go with a 1/2 inch with the 16mm. This will give you a lot more leverage. It's a lot easier to pull on that tensioner. But if you have a 3/8, it's totally doable. It's just going to be a little harder. Alright, so when you're going to pull the tension on that tensioner to release the tension, at the same time you're holding it with one hand, you got to slide in the Allen with the other hand and put it in place. Once the slot is in, you'll see that the tensioner is not going to retract back to its original state, and that's how you know it's being held on. You want to be absolutely sure that this pin is in correctly, because if it comes off while you're right here playing with the belt, that tensioner is going to hurt when it comes slamming into your hand. So just double check, triple check, make sure that pin is in there correctly. And then you can just go ahead and slide the old belt off. Now these belts, they're non-directional, so you can just put it in whichever way you want. Now I made a mistake right here. You're gonna not want to put it on the top pulley on the alternator as I did here. What you're gonna wanna do is start with the crank pulley towards the bottom. You're gonna see the issue I came in to right here. See, I can't reach down in there and get that belt in the bottom portion of the crank pulley. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the top part right here. So I go ahead and remove the top portion, slide in the bottom part on the crank pulley first, and then we're going to slide in on the belt tensioner side right here. So the way it looks here, the belt is not installed fully. It is missing a groove. So what I'm having issue with at this point is that I can't push it in by hand. There seems to be too much tension with the new belt. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen the tensioner, but I'm gonna hold tension with my hand, and then that's gonna give me a little more extra play to slide in the belt the rest of the way. So I found that when you have it held on with the pin with the new belt, it's really difficult to slide it in all the way, get it through every single one of those grooves. So I just pulled it back with the 1/2 inch, gave myself an extra little bit of space, and I was able to slide it in. Now once you slide it in, you definitely want to go through every single groove, make sure the belt is in the slots that it's supposed to be in. The belt should be smooth across. There shouldn't be any lumps anywhere. It should fit perfectly into every single groove, every single pulley. So once that's squared away, we're going to go ahead and start assembling back the vehicle. We're going to start with the intake tubing here at the bottom. This is the 7mm. You're going to want to put the clamp on the top side here. There's going to be a small little stopper so you don't go too far back or forward. You're going to want to push it in until you hear a little snap. It's going to fit into place, and then don't forget that clamp down at the bottom with the coolant hose. Put that back in. And now we're just going to tighten down the clamp right here. At this point, we're going to go ahead and reinstall the airbox. So we're just going to flip it over from on top of the engine bay. On the left side, if you're facing the engine, you're going to see these slots, and you're going to want to make sure the airbox slides into those slots. Once that's aligned up, you can go ahead and push down on the rubber grommets here to fit it back into place. The only one that might be difficult is this one right here in the center. Sometimes it's really difficult to get that one on, so if you spray some WD-40 or some sort of lubricant, you can push down on it. Then you just grab the intake tube, and don't forget to bring the clamp around. Once again, this one does have a groove that you want to put the clamp on. It's going to be right here in this spot. Then we can just tighten it down. And then the hood release cables, clamp those back in, and you're all set. So at this point, once you're all done, go ahead and start the car, and make sure you, with the flashlight, you look down into the belt area, make sure that the belt is riding correctly. There's no abnormal noises. If you smell something like burning rubber, it's routed incorrectly. You're going to want to turn off the car and check to see which one of the grooves is not installed correctly. It's going to be pretty obvious. You're going to see that it's not flat. Just look for those grooves, but if it's not making any noise, not smelling like something's burning, then you're good to go. So the last step is you're going to want to just assemble the car, test drive it around your block, listen for any weird noises, squealing, or anything that smells like it's a burning rubber smell. And if there is, just bring it back, look for the issue. It's going to be in the belt somewhere, obviously. And then if you hear a noise coming from the belt tensioner, then obviously the belt tensioner is also going to be needing to be replaced. Soon I will be posting a video on how to replace the belt tensioner. So for now, I hope this video helped you save some money. If you liked it, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.